Hello, friends, and welcome to Investigation 4. Take it for granted. This is the exciting investigation where we put everything together that we have learned so far this year from the mock rocks investigation, the scratch test investigation, and the calcite quest. Now, the title of this investigation is Take It for Granted. Have you ever heard of a idiom or a pun where you might take something for granted? Like if you're used to getting lots of birthday presents, for example, that you might take it for granted that you're used to getting a lot of those birthday presents. So it's kind of an idiom that's used when you're used to getting a lot of things and then you kind of don't get them. So you sort of take it for granted. Guess what? The title of this investigation is Take It for Granted, but not that type of granite, granite. Now, the question is granite a rock or a mineral? We're going to be looking at all of these rocks and minerals. We're putting everything together here. All right. So we have mica, we have hornblende, we have feldspar, quartz, granite, and calcite. So here's the question that we're going to figure out. Which of these are minerals? And are any of these rocks? Let's find out. Get started. Open up to page 20, 21, and 22 in your science notebook. Okay, so we have some new materials here today that we're going to be looking at. And inside of this cup, okay, I have this right here. So let's look real closely at that. Okay. There you go. You can pause the video if you need to. Okay. I have this right here. Okay. I have this right here. I have this one. Can we see a view of that real good? There we go, right there. Oh, I have this. Look at that one. Very cool looking. And I have this. Yes, this looks familiar, right? You should be able to identify that right away. All right, so when we take a look at all of those samples together, okay, all of those samples together, let's see here, see that. Can you tell me, let's go here, which one, there's one that is a rock, okay, and the rest are minerals. Which one would you tell me is the rock? If you pointed out this one, you are absolutely correct. You know why we can tell that's a rock? Do you see the pink and the white and the black specks in there? I do too. This, my friends, is our rock. And the name of this rock is granite. Okay, so what about these other samples that I have in my hand? Well, this one right here, okay, you've seen this before as well. You saw this in the scratch test investigation, okay? This one right here is quartz, okay? This one you've seen, okay? You know, you can tell by looking at the shape of it when we talked about cleavage versus fracture. This is calcite, okay? This right here, my friends, this black mineral is hornblende. Okay. This right here is pink. And this one is, let's look a little closer at that one. There we go. This one is feldspar. And this one right here is mica. And mica has a really cool property. And that is that it's very fragile. You have to handle it with care. Let's take a look at this, friends. Look, you can peel it off in sheets. Look at that. You can peel it off in sheets. So mica has a very special property like that. Okay, so that brings us to looking at our chart over here. Take it for granted. Our rock, my friends, is granite, and our minerals are mica, quartz, feldspar, hornblende, and calcite. All right, so now we are going to take a look inside of our science notebooks because we have a challenge ahead of us. Do you know what that challenge is? We need to study granite. Right here, that sample of granite, our rock. And we need to decide which of these minerals are in the rock granite. So how are we going to go about doing that? Well, let's take a look at page 20. On page 20, like I said, we start to put everything together. We are back again to looking at properties of minerals because, again, this is the only rock sample that we have in our batch here. Everything else is a mineral, okay? So when we are looking here at our page, how do we test minerals? Well, we can test minerals for hardness. And if you remember the geological tools that we had used, that geologists use, we have our magnifying glass or our hand lens. We have a paper clip. We have our penny. We have our fingernails attached to our fingers and our safety goggles. Okay. All right. So without any further ado, we are going to start our investigation. So, first thing we need to do is write down the colors of all of these minerals. Okay, so we said mica. Here is our sample of mica. All right, mica is black. Okay, and we have our sample of hornblende. Hornblende right here is also black. Okay, we have our sample on page 21. If you can flip over to 21, we have our sample of feldspar, and feldspar is pink. You're going to write pink down in your journal. We have our sample of quartz. Okay, quartz looks just like so, and quartz is white. Okay, and we have our sample of calcite, and calcite again is white. Okay, now we get to test for hardness. Okay, and if you remember when we tested for hardness before, okay, what we have to do is using our fingernail, our penny, and our paper clip, we need to see which one of the minerals can be scratched. Okay, and just like we did when we did the scratch test and we wrote yes or no or a check mark, that's how we're going to do this one. So let's get started. All right, so let's look and see. We've got mica here, okay, and I am scratching mica, and friends, that is definitely able to be scratched. You should be able to see the little flakes that are coming down. So on my paper where it says put a check, okay, after the tools that can scratch mica, we're going to say absolutely a fingernail can. And what about a penny? Is a penny able to scratch mica? Oh my goodness, look at all those flakes. Yes, a penny is able to scratch it. What about a paper clip? Is a paper clip able to scratch mica? Oh my goodness, absolutely. There are permanent marks on there, friends. Permanent marks. That is not wiping away. Okay? Now, knowing mica, I will tell you that on Mohs scale of hardness, mica has a hardness of 2.5 on Mohs scale. Now, other observations that we can write about mica is, guess what? It is flaky. Okay? Chips easily. Very soft. Okay? It is about the same as your fingernail, to be honest with you. The fingernail was able to scratch it, but it's very similar. Okay? All right, so we are going to move on to hornblende in our next clip. Okay, make sure you tune in to part 2